Welcome to another edition of Pants Optional. It's Pop Cool HQ's Zoom interview segment where we speak with comic creators in the industry and find out about their projects and get the lowdown, but from the waist up. Today we have a special Kickstarter Spotlight edition. My guest is an award-winning director, musician, cartoonist, writer, who has brought his first ever illustrated prose book, Ghosts Are People Too, to Kickstarter just in time for Halloween. Please welcome Peter Ricq. Peter, welcome to the show.
Hey, how you doing, Jason?
Hello, I'm doing wonderful. Yourself?
Good. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Good. Hey, I took a look at the advanced copy you have as well as the campaign. This is such a fun project you have here. Your book, Ghosts Are People Too, it's beautifully illustrated. You do get a lot of that kind of gaming vibe, that a little bit of the
Edward Gorey and
yeah. I couldn't think of his name. The Jack the Pumpkin King, Tim Burton.
Yeah.
Kind of feeling it. But it features a character named Ethan Albee, who's just a simple, ordinary ghost. And so where did the concept of Ethan Albee come from, and what's his message that he has to readers?
So it's a book that introduces the living, us, to what it's like to be a ghost, and ghosts are also afraid of the living. So it's not a one way thing. It's, it works both ways, that we can do some creepy things that would scare ghosts, and it's just to introduce kids not to be afraid of what is unknown, and take the time to learn from them and understand them and understand why they do the things they do, so that you're not afraid of them, that you understand that they're also people. And this can be applied to also not just the supernatural, just like to take the time to learn anything that's a bit odd to you or different, because there is a reason for it. And
you segue great into my next where I was going with this. Though it's the story of this ghost, it really does draw parallels to life, and I think like acceptance and learning everyone else faces struggles that maybe you're not familiar with. In creating this book, how important was it to include these life lessons within the story?
Well, I think with a kid's book, not only a kid's book, but any film or story, there needs to be a theme, like a kind of a thesis kind of. And I knew from looking at Edward Gorey's book at a bookstore like a couple of years ago, the Geshcrum Tinies, that I thought there wasn't that many books that were kind of cute and morbid, which are things that I really loved as a kid, that I would spend hours just looking at all the details in the drawing. So I wanted to do something similar, but I also wanted to have a positive message in the end. And it took me a while to figure out what that was going to be, but I just thought about it. That's usually what I do. I get inspired by a vision, and then it's just to put that vision on paper and find out what I really want to say. And so that took a while, and then but once they kicked in, once I found it really flowed easily. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, it's you really put something together, and it not only includes Ethan's tale in this hardcover, it with accompanying illustrations, but the book also features some surefire ways to find a ghost, as well as some additional ghost stories.
Yeah.
You really packed this book with a lot for fans.
Well, I want it to be very interactive and fun. I remember as a kid, I had this Halloween book that taught you how to make all these pranks, and it showed you like little drawings of how to build them and all that. And I thought it was super fun. So I want to have something similar. So how can I bring this into this book? Say, let's show a way to how to find if there is a ghost in your house. So I put all the tools you need to figure out if there is a ghost in your house, and what they do, and where to get them. And then I remember reading Max Brooks, who wrote World War Z. His first book was the Zombie Scout Guide to the Apocalypse. And at the end of that book, there's a couple real life zombie stories that he took from the news. And I thought it'd be really great to add a couple nice ghost stories that were true stories, that just to show that, you know, not all ghost stories are spooky, and there are some good ghosts out there.
That's cool. That's cool how you're able to translate that into within the pages of this hardcover, and you really found a way to blend some dark humor with a fun,
Yeah,
still family friendly tale,
yeah,
and you know it really gives it appeal to readers of all ages. Really,
yeah.
who would you consider is your target audience, and how are you most hoping to attract fans with Ghosts of People too?
I want to be mostly for kids, but anybody who likes Tim Burton stuff, who likes the Halloween, would really uh, feel like a connection with it. So teenagers who are into that stuff, and even young adults and parents, to read a book that they can read it with their kids and have fun reading it. It doesn't feel like, oh my God, if my kid wants to read this again, I hate the story. There's like no point to it. It was stupid. So I want to make something that's fun for everybody. And the inspiration, it really came from like Neil Gaiman and Tim Burton, like his early movies, like Beetlejuice, Pee Wee Herman. That one is not so creepy, but like spooky. But Beetlejuice, and then what's Frankenweenie, one of the last ones he did. You know, that's also a kid movie, but it has a bit more um, spooky elements to it, but it won't scare. It might scare some kids, but it's a good scare for kids. It's a good segue for them to see if they do like it. And even though my book is really not as morbid as Edward Gorey's books, um, but I know some kids, my friends who have some young kids, about between 3 and 5, he said it was too scary for them. But I think it's a good way for them to be less scared, because when they grow up, there's going to be some moments when they are going to be scared, and hopefully this teaches them that it's okay to be scared, and it's fun to be scared. I think that's why a lot of people like horror movies, because they like that feeling of of feeling something. Yeah.
Sure, sure. No, yeah. Well, anytime you can evoke any kind of emotion out of
Yeah.
a reader or a viewer, it's definitely impactful, you know, in a
Mhm.
positive way.
Yeah.
Uh, oh,
Also, in
what
Edward
is?
Scissorhands was another one that was very
Oh,
sweet.
sure,
And I
sure.
loved that movie as a kid too. So yeah,
That was great, and yeah, and I know I know what you're talking about with Pee-wee's Big Adventure, right?
yeah,
Uh,
yeah. Because that one did
just
have some scary parts when she's
it had little tones throughout, you know,
yeah,
and you know, I mean, and in that one, even though as goofy as the character was and everything,
yeah,
it was still about his personal journey and some of the fears he encountered along the way. I mean, even
yeah,
in just trying to find his bike.
yeah.
But yeah, just classic movie. What have you enjoyed the most working on this book and bringing it to Kickstarter?
What I enjoyed the most about it was just to be able to get into that zone of um, the Halloween zone. If this book does really well, I have a whole series of books I would like to do in the similar tone and vibe, and different characters from the whole Universal monster movies. Like
Oh, sure.
do a different one for each, with all a different theme that's also positive. And I would love to just be able, just like when I worked on this book, to draw spooky things like this all year round, because it is my favorite season. And
Right.
yeah, so that's why I guess I also like a lot of horror movies, because I just like that whole scene.
Sure, sure. No, and you know what, like you're saying, if when you look at this book, it's laid out really nice in a real storytelling fashion in a way that you can actually envision a parent reading to their child and turning the page that you have one illustration, you know, encompassing what your text is on the other page, and it has that nice storytelling capability throughout Ethan's tale.
Hmm.
You know, and for those who might not know, you're no stranger to crowdfunding, having 3 graphic novels already successfully funded on Kickstarter.
Yeah.
And what's nice about this campaign is that the hardcover's finished. Your project's done. You were not, hey, you know, it's still going to be 3 months till these pages are done, and then
Yeah.
you're ready to go with this. So
Yeah.
you're just looking to fund printing and distribution of this. Is that
That's
correct?
right. Yeah. So that's what I did with all my books. Because I know there's some campaigns that they're asking for the money to finish and then they'll have to print it and everything. It's just a lot of work and it's a lot to because sometimes those creators they just grab the money and they just get lazy and then it's like, well, I have the money anyway. Like I don't have to bother and I'll just work on something else. And so
Sure.
what I want to make sure is that the people know that the book is finished and they'll get it as soon as it's printed.
Yeah, and I think too, going into it already complete like that, it eliminates the possibility of a lot of problems that could possibly occur in
Yeah,
something that's still not finished. Someone getting
yeah.
sick, someone, you know, whatever happening.
And with the
Um,
last book I did, I was gonna give it to them way earlier, but when the pandemic happened, everything was closed, so I wasn't able to. I made sure to
uh,
spend more money to get that to them to the pledgers earlier, but then when COVID hit, I couldn't send it to them. But I did give them a PDF um, download link, and I did do with all the so like with the Ghosts for People too. There's different pledges, and some of them include little doodles. So what I did with the last book, I put together a coloring book that I sent to everyone for free as a PDF. So if something does happen again with this one, you'll be getting the PDF earlier, and maybe you'll get a coloring book too that you can, draw with your kids and stuff.
that'd be awesome. And your characters just look so great. I looked in some of the sketches or ones that are done for the campaign, and like the Cobra Kai one, and
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
just
it.
your your characters, they're cute. They have that cute appeal, but at the same time, they do have a little. I don't know if I want to say darkness, if that's
Yeah, yeah,
quite the right word, but more of that Burton feel, that kind of
totally.
more
Yeah,
creepy-ish little,
yeah.
but so fun, and I could
It's
see
super
kids
cute, I
definitely
guess.
having fun with coloring that.
Yeah.
Hey, so before we wrap, I want to give you an opportunity to just pitch your project and reach out to prospective fans and new backers on why they need to get on board
Sure.
and check out and snag your copy of Ghosts Are People Too.
All right, so Ghosts of People 2 is a 42-page book. There's a story of Ethan Albee, who's just a simple, ordinary ghost. And it's all drawn in pointillism stippling. That's by hand, ink. They take a lot of time to do. He's, it is, it does have that creepy look, vintage look, but it's drawn in a contemporary cartoony way, something that your kids are probably more familiar with, like things from Cartoon Network. Like, let's say, Clarence and the Amazing World of Gumball, things like that. Even Gravity Falls, which is like a great Disney show. Yeah, and it's just so that you can in October when you want to get into that spirit and not scare your kids away, you can read that with them, and then hopefully they won't be spooked out at night when you're watching a horror movie with the TV blaring and they can't see. They'll be, oh yeah, that's just like a little ghost that you know he's probably screaming right now because when my dad scared him, as opposed to a human dying. Um, yeah, and it's a really fun book. It's easy to read and it's something that you could probably read all year round, really. Yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful visually. You can tell there's a lot of work put into it and a lot of heart as well.
Thanks.
And like you're naming off like Cartoon Network shows. I even got a couple glimpses. I was thinking of that. I don't know if you remember the Adventures of Billy and Mandy. With
I know that
there's
one.
a death character that followed this girl around everywhere, and just I think a girl and a boy, and the boy was kind of stupid, or I don't know what it was. Yeah, it was death always around. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it definitely has some great appeal to it, and I think fans are really going to love this. Be sure to go out and check out Ghosts for People 2, now on Kickstarter through November 19th. Snag yourself and your family a copy. It's only $20 Canadian, $16 US for the hardcover. Do it now. Thank you again to my guest, Peter Ricq. Thanks for coming on the show, man. I appreciate you taking the time and speaking with us.
All right. Thank you. Peace.